All right, what's up? We're live. Playing to Win, episode number 72. Talking about cancel culture, the Manosphere, aka the Manoswamp, TopG, Red Pill, etc., etc. It'll be a fun one today. Make sure you hit the like button if you're just coming on in, and enable that, and throw some comments in the live chat if there's anything you guys want to ask me, because I'm basically leaving the questions up to you guys. If you want to direct this to talk about a certain topic, just hit me up with a chat or a super chat or whatever you want, and I'll keep an eye open for anything and try to make sure I hit on it so we touch on as much as possible. But I want to talk about cancel culture first, because look, guys, cancel culture ain't new. Cancel culture ain't freaking new. It is some old ass shit. I'm going to stand up for this podcast. It is some old ass shit. It's been going on for a while. They've tried to come at quite a few people. We've seen what happened to Andrew recently. And who have they been successful with? They've canceled. Well, they canceled the president of the United States. That was pretty impressive. You'd think of all people, you wouldn't get canceled if you were president, but boom, you got social media taken away. Alex Jones, Milo Yiannopoulos, Stefan Molyneux, Andrew Tate. There's probably a bunch of others, but it's not new. You know, it's been going on for a while. Like trying to remove voices doesn't silence them. Okay, trying to move ideas doesn't get rid of them. All it does is it proves the accuracy of those concepts, if we're being honest. Okay. Look, did Alex Jones go away? As far as I know, he's still around. Most of these people are still out and about. You know, Donald Trump is still claiming he's going to be running for president. So whether he does or he doesn't, I don't know. I mean, I think that guy's days are over, if we're being honest. He kind of had his opportunity and he screwed it up. Who's that new guy that seems to be getting a lot of traction? DeSantis, right? He seems like an interesting candidate for a presidential switch over from demented asleep Joe. Somebody shared a clip the other day I saw on Twitter, and the caption was something like, I don't know, when the edible kicks in and he's sitting there after signing something and he's like, he doesn't know where he is, and he's kind of like, he just passes the pen over to a random dude. He's shaking the hands of people that aren't there. Man, the world's a strange place. But yeah, cancel culture, right? So they'll try to remove you when they don't like what you say. Let me share a couple stories with you, actually. I don't know if I've mentioned this publicly much or before on the channel. I've probably talked about it privately with a couple of my bros. But so back in my debt business around 2010, the Canadian dollar was at par with the US dollar. And there were some legislative changes that happened in the US about a year or two before that. And what ended up happening was a lot of the American companies saw an opportunity to now promote their services in a country that didn't have the same legislation as what was in the US. So they started basically running the same advertising campaigns that got them in so much trouble in the US a few years prior. I was the largest Canadian player at that time, but there were a lot of American companies with very deep pockets. You know, the US marketplace is quite a bit bigger than Canada's. And they started purporting the same sort of promises, hopes, and dreams to Canadian citizens, and they flat out lied. Like, they would say things like, you know, there's a new government program, sort of thing, which was one of the catchphrases, which really caught their attention. So credit card companies, banks, and even media personalities and the government got behind writing new legislation to cancel the industry that I was operating in, and the process took about 2.5, 3 years, I would say. And they were successful in getting the legislation passed and implementing it. And they legitimately canceled an entire industry, which for the most part, the ones that were operating above board were very, very helpful in eliminating debt, improving credit ratings, helping people get back on their feet. Incredibly helpful, in fact. But that just showed me, like, that was one of the red pilling moments for me. That was like a big unplugging moment for me. And I was like, holy shit, like you can be doing the right thing. You can save people a lot of money. You can lead them down a brighter path. You can improve the credit rating. But the credit card companies and the banks had so much power, so much influence that regulators just said, oh, okay, let's do this because this should be better. And they don't think. One of the things I learned about government at that time, because I went down to Queen's Park for about 2.5 years, I was leading this trade organization. And I dealt with lobbyists. We had to hire lobbyists. We spent 60 grand on lobbyists and stuff like that. And I'm meeting all the policymakers and regulators. Canadians watching the stream will know the name Jagmeet Singh because he's the leader of the NDP party here. And he was the critic to the bill, which was called, I think, Bill 55 at the time. And I met with Jagmeet Singh several times. And he's not the person on screen that he holds himself out to be, to care about people and, the little guy and that sort of stuff. And I experienced the same thing with all the others that I met as well. They're more concerned with their positions, their tenure, their seat in office and stuff like that. They don't really care about what's good for the little guy. So that was another big red pilling moment for me. So when they tried to cancel the industry and were successful at it, pretty much everybody had to shut down and fold. I'm not a dummy, and I've got a great lawyer, and we went through the legislation. There's no point in trying to fight legislation, was another outcome of that. So we went through all the legislation, and we found a carve-out that was suitable, and we pivoted and survived. Most people don't survive canceling. Most industries, most companies, they just don't. It's very, very difficult, if nearly impossible. You haven't seen Alex Jones back on mainstream social media. I don't think Donald Trump's got anything back. He went and created his own social media platform. What other names out there? Milo Yiannopoulos has kind of disappeared into the woodwork. And I guess we'll see what happens with Andrew as far as his cancellation. I mean, most Googled guy on the planet at one point. I checked on Google Trends. I've got a shortcut for Google Trends because I always keep an eye on, what's trending out there. And I think I compared Tate versus Kim Kardashian versus Joe Rogan versus Elon Musk. Like I tried to think of some big names, and he's right. There were more searches trending than any of those other names. And he got caught up in the whirlwind of all that, and cancel culture came, and they won because they own the platforms, they own the distribution of media. A few years ago, I had a tweet that went out that went really viral that got picked up on morning shows, stuff like, I don't think it went on The View, but like morning shows around the world like that, where it's a bunch of women sitting around a table talking about stuff and they'll find like sound bites and clips. And there's a tweet that I put out and it ended up on a whole bunch of pieces of like media outlets and stuff like that. There's a tweet that said something along the lines of, ladies, if you want to keep a guy, be feminine, be beautiful, have culinary skills, just basic stuff, stuff that, your grandmothers would have been telling like their great granddaughters or their granddaughters, 50 years ago or something like that. Nothing outrageous. And they tried to cancel me. It was really funny because I got this message from my office, and they were basically coming up and going like, oh, is this Richard Cooper, the guy that works at Total Debt Freedom, sort of thing. I was like, so like I founded the business 20 years ago. What are you going to do? You try to cancel? They legitimately try to cancel me. They legitimately try to cancel me from my own company, which I thought was hilarious. So that brings me to anti-fragility, actually, since that's an important concept here. What's Mike said here? Kamala Harris would get destroyed in an election. I don't know. I don't know about the state of elections, man. It's like, it's a real funny thing. Oh, man. Yeah, but anti-fragility is really, really important. So there's a concept of fragility, robustness, and anti-fragility. Got this from a book called Anti-Fragile. I actually did a book review. This was around the time when I was doing book reviews on my channel. There's so many good books out there. Anyway, I used to do these book reviews, and I did one on Anti-Fragile. There's a video on my channel. I think it was in the M3 at the time. And these three concepts of anti-fragility, robustness, and fragility. Fragility is basically, if I take, I don't have anything glass here, but if I were to take a a glass cup and drop it on the floor, it would probably shatter. That's fragile. Most things in the world are either fragile or robust. Robustness is taking like a bag of sand. If I take a bag of sand and I drop it on the floor, nothing happens to it. It doesn't break. It doesn't get worse. It doesn't get better. Nothing happens to it. And then there's a concept of anti-fragility. Anti-fragility is when you apply chaos to something and it actually improves. So when the financial institutions, the credit card companies, the government came for my industry around 2010 and passed the legislation a few years later, my business became anti-fragile because it improved to the point where the legislation basically removed the competitors, a change in the economic landscape with the value of the Canadian versus the US dollar changed things. And they either went out of business, they sold their book of business, some pivoted, not very many, but most didn't actually improve. My business is one of the few that actually improved. So anti-fragility looks like that. Anti-fragility looks like applying chaos to something and it gets better. So in regards to our friend, the TopG, an example of anti-fragility is if he actually gets better. I watched that, was it the final word or a final word from Tate the other day? How can I put this? It was an interesting video to watch because it was totally different from all the interviews and the TikTok clips and all that sort of stuff. One of the things I liked about Andrew is he takes ownership. He takes extreme ownership, I think is the best way to put it. I think Jocko Willink, uses the same phrase, but it's like, one of the things he said was something along the lines, if I got struck by lightning, I would take the blame for that. And, if you think about that for a second, are you the kind of person that would blame the weather? Are you the kind of person that would blame Mother Nature, whatever it might be? Or are you the kind of person that would look in the mirror and say, that was stupid. Why did I go outside during an electrical storm with an umbrella or with a golf club standing out or something like that, or standing under a very tall tree, for example? That would be your fault. And he's right. Not many people take extreme ownership in that sense. So there's a few things that I liked about that video that he did. Like, you say that you're a victim of your own success, and I guess he's right, because your entire affiliate network was what created the reach. Got you the trending page of Google for your name, and all those clips were made. And the vast majority of those clips, if we're being honest, they had the HU affiliate link in them from what I saw. Some of them were taken out of context, but the vast majority were from that program. So the cancellation and the the movement into the next chapter, what does he call it? Step 2, version 2.0 or 3.0, wherever he happens to be. That next step will be like the like sunlight distills all, if you know what I mean. Like, it sanitizes all the bullshit, and then it's like, you can't hide in any shadows when you're in the direct sunlight. So it's like, okay, well, this is where you get to. And there's a lot going on right now with the Manosphere, the red pill, men's self-improvement, self-help sort of notions. And it's not new. Like, actually, here, I got a clip up here on my channel. Let me throw in my headphones. I'll play it. So we'll go through this together, because this is a video that I recorded almost 4 years ago now. Okay. And I was getting pretty pissed off with the whole Manosphere stuff at that time. Some people ask me for my opinions on certain things, and I just tend to keep them to myself at this time. So let's share screen. It's like a quick 10-minute. I can probably play this at 1.5 times speed to rip through it faster. But it's relevant for a whole bunch of reasons. Share audio tab. There it is. Okay, share. We'll throw it up over here. So almost 4 years ago, I made this video. I don't know how many views on it. It doesn't show here on my screen. It was about 40 to 60,000 views, something like that. Let's just play it. Drag it from the start and go 1.5 times speed. Let me know if you can't hear this in the chat. It should be playing okay.
For you today on the Manosphere, when you talk about what is wrong with the Manosphere, because there's many things wrong with it, if I'm being honest. If you're new to the channel, my name is Rich Cooper. If you're an old subscriber, welcome to a different scene. I decided to get out of the car in the house today and just record this in a little bit different scenario, kind of think outside of the box. So how did I get into this Manosphere stuff? I didn't even know what it was a couple years ago, if I'm being honest. I made some bad choices in life, went through the divorce machine, saw some crazy stuff happen, with my business that was just brutal, and then got into a bad relationship with a single mommy for like 3 years or so. And that's basically what all red pilled me. And I basically pivoted my content. You can sort my older content and see how I went from talking about cars and entrepreneurship and those success rides and what they had to do to overcome those obstacles to really that same theme, but applying it more to life in general. And I started solving problems within my own life, looking for answers. I mean, when you go looking for answers, you're going to find them. You'll find them on Google. You'll find them by talking to people. You'll find them on YouTube. You ask questions, you will find answers. There's content out there for just about anything you want to ask about. And I was looking for some serious answers, and I started sharing my own experiences based on what I learned. And I came across books and content like Bachelor Pad Economics was the first thing that brought me into it by Aaron Cleary, and then the Rollo Tomasi book series. Rollo's become a great friend. There's many things wrong with the Manosphere, as it's called. First of all, it's a crazy name. I mean, Manosphere sounds like something that would have shown up in Police Academy in the 80s rather than the Blue.
I've always said it's a stupid name. It's like, it doesn't sound like anything masculine. It sounds pretty soy, if we're being honest.
Oyster, it should have been called the Manosphere. It's a silly name. It's like a weird nightclub. Anyway, setting that aside. But here's the thing, right? I mean, the whole Manosphere space has a number of people in it that preach to an audience, whether it's on social media platforms, video, blog form, in person, however it is that you want to lay it out, on how to become a better version of themselves, but they really don't live it themselves.
Okay. That hasn't changed at all. At all. As far as men's self-help goes, they purport all these claims and these statements, but they don't live them themselves. I don't look, well, here, let's finish this and then we'll get into all that.
They have overinflated egos. They lie, they cheat, they manufacture stories about themselves that simply aren't true.
Yep.
I
still true today.
See so many things that people send to me. They DM me all the time. It's like the drama is never ending, guys.
The drama.
I've run departments which were primarily comprised of women, doing $250,000, $300,000 a month in sales. Several dozen of them, people, employees, and I've never seen this much drama. And they're banging each other and they're fighting with each other and they have HR issues and stuff like that. But in the Manosphere space, I've never seen the amount of drama that I see. It's bizarre to me that it is this deep. It solves so many problems. And I'm not saying it itself, but the red pill, waking up from the lies that you've been told and unplugging from social conditioning that doesn't serve you. It solves a lot of problems for guys, and it helps them level up in life. It helps them.
So, like, guys are generally deductive reasoners when it comes to problem solving. It's like they'll have a circle hole and they'll have a triangle and a square peg and a rectangular peg, and you just keep poking them through until one fits. Like, that's how guys operate. That's, toddlers do that. But you go looking for answers and you will find them. It's like, whenever I talk to somebody like, oh, I think so-and-so is doing this, that, and the other thing, on me behind my back sort of thing. Well, go digging for dirt. You're going to get dirty and you're probably going to find stuff that you're not going to like, right? When you go looking for answers, when you go looking for help, you're going to find something. The problem with self-help, and what I was talking about here several years ago, was that what you're finding, generally speaking, I'll actually put it this way. Okay, because I've been writing a chapter in my follow-up book on the Mano Swamp. I'm not going to give away much of it in this video, but just to sort of talk about it from altitude. It's a lot like Las Vegas, if I can put it that way. If you've never been to Vegas, you'll figure this out when you go one day. But if you've been to Vegas, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Vegas is a place that you go to that you're happy that you find, that you're excited to explore. But it's like when you leave, it's awesome. I spent a number of years flying down to Vegas for long weekends. We'd go down on Friday, we'd come back like Sunday night, go down on Thursday, come back Sunday night sort of thing. And I did this a whole bunch of times with a bunch of different friends, larger groups, smaller groups, sometimes just the two of us sort of thing. But, we went down there a lot. And it's like, it got to the point after doing it a certain number of times where it's like, Sunday night at the airport, waiting for your flight, just kind of sitting there. You're like, fuck, I'm glad I'm going home. Like, I'm done with this shit, right? Like, I want to get the hell out of here. That's kind of what the Mano Swamp's like. It's like, it's interesting. You kind of want to visit it, but you don't want to live there, right? Like, people that live in Las Vegas, I know there's some tax benefits and stuff like that. And maybe you like the lifestyle, but most people that I know that have lived there, they don't spend too much time there.
Them become better. It helps them make more money. It helps them get better results with women. It really does. It's like nothing else I've ever seen. But for some reason, it's like flies on crap. There's so many flies out there that are just lying POSs. They don't live the lives that they live. I mean, I know them personally. I've over the last few years, I've got to know many of them personally, and they'll walk around banging their chest talking about running multiple businesses, being multimillionaires, and they don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of.
At the time when I recorded this, I was probably thinking of like one or two people, but it's expanded. I can probably add another 5 to 10 people on that easily.
And I know this for a fact. I don't need to name names, but I know these things for a fact. And what I would rather see is people focus on becoming the best version of themselves and then influencing others to do the same. That's really my theory. I mean, I don't come on YouTube and put out content to sell you guys crap. I've got 600 free videos on my channel. Do I have a community? Do I have a paywall? Do I do
600 videos? That was 2018, 2019-ish. I think I checked the other day because I did do some uploads after some edits. I've got 1,100 videos on the channel now. It's just like, man, time flies when you're doing this.
do coaching? Yeah. Why? Because I don't work for free. Do you guys work for free? Do you guys go to your job?
Oh yeah, that's always been one of the big, complaints of people is like, oh, Rich, you charge so much money for private coaching. It's like, yeah. you you think I'm basic bitch when it comes to coaching? All the stuff that I know and the experiences that I have. I mean, look, if you want basic answers, there's other people out there that'll give you basic answers. But if you want like help solving a complex problem, that's what I do, and I do it at a high level. So that's why my rate's there. But I always found it funny. It's like, oh, you're taking advantage of simps. It's like nobody's holding a gun to anybody's head, man. It's like, this is what I do, and I prefer not doing private consults. I actually have a lot more fun doing other things. Trust me, it's not for the money. It's to protect my time, so I'm not swamped with bookings.
Monday morning and punch in and never get paid? Of course not. You're going to charge for your time when people demand it. So when people want to talk to me to get coaching for something, or they want to get access to premium stuff that I can't post on YouTube, of course I'm going to charge for it, right? But there's so many people out there that haven't done the work. It's like blah, blah, blah. And dude, all I want to say is, shh, show me. Stop talking. Start doing. Start showing me. Stop banging your chest.
It's amazing how not a lot has changed over the last few years.
There's far too much of that and not enough doing the work. Do the work. And that applies for people watching Manosphere content. There's a lot of lazy people that watch Manosphere content that don't actually do the work, that are looking for the cheat codes. Like
self-help, man. Like, people identify a problem. It's like, okay, I have a problem now. And then you give them a solution and then they don't do anything with it. I even see this with guys that enter my community personally. And it's like, when they do it, we call them out on it, right? Like me and the top guys in my group, it'll be like, look, that's called being an asshole. And that's asking a question, doing nothing with it, and then coming back again and rephrasing it. A lot of these guys will sometimes start DMing other people and wasting their time with more bullshit. And it's like, there's a lot of that out there. It's not a masculine behavior. It's not what top shelf men do. It's not what gets you results. It's like masturbation. You're just like doing whatever, but you're not actually achieving anything. Like driving a car into some mud and lighting up the tires and spinning the wheels is the equivalent, right? And there's a lot of that out there. I think part of the reason why Andrew got so much traction outside of the whole bombastic, loud, and the catchy sound bites was simply because he caught the attention of a lot of these guys. It's funny, I was at the gym the other day, and I think I did a video on this a couple weeks ago, but I said the same thing to Andrew. I sent him a message. I'm like, a lot of people are like, oh, I like your stuff, and thank you for the book and all that sort of stuff. And the very next thing they'll say is, oh, do you know Andrew Tate? And it's like the whole TopG thing. And I'm not really sure what that means. I think I'm a little bit older, obviously. Okay. So bear with me on this, because I've got less life ahead of me than what I've lived. I mean, I've got a lot of experiences, and, you see these kids and they're like, 130 pounds soaking wet. And I'm calling them kids. They're probably about 20. Like, they're not children. So they're adult men. They're like 130, 140 pounds soaking wet, 5'10". And they're walking around beating their chest like, I'm a top G sort of thing. And it's like, dude, I saw you in the parking lot pulling your mom's Honda. And I see you like bench pressing one plate, and you're beating your chest and poking at your boys, calling yourself the top G. You ain't, right? The work needs to be done. There's the act as if concept, which I talked about in a video the other day where I was detailing you're not alpha if. And of course, there's some people that get their feathers all ruffled over that, but it is what it is, right? I mean, the world either sees you as, or they don't see you as, right? But anyway, let's finish going through this video.
In fact, check this out. Let me dig it up. These are some of the grievances that people voiced to me when I asked what they see with problems in the Manosphere. Manosphere sounds like a gay nightclub. Too many guys looking for a time machine to take them back to a Leave It to Beaver time. The belief that there was ever
I think that was Carl that said the second one, Black Label Logic, and he walked out of the Manosphere. He deleted his social media. He just left. He just said goodbye because he didn't see it. I'm guessing as the juice being worth the squeeze.
a golden era of masculinity and the freedom from hypergamy. The obsession with obscure philosophy, occultism, and other BS. Unqualified purple pill hacks looking for legitimacy by redefining or fabricating red pill fundamentals to align with the shitty choices they made in their own lives.
That's the other thing too. There's all these colored pills now: black, white, purple, blue, fucking yellow, green, orange. I don't know. Like, how many different colored pills do you need, man? There's like either like it's true or it's a lie, right? It came from the Matrix. Take the blue pill, you plug back in, and sleepwalk through life, and everything stays as it was. Take the red one, you unplug from everything, and we go down the rabbit hole and see how far things really go. The thing being, though, is that a lot of these self-help guys, whether they're in the Mano Swamp or they're not in the Mano Swamp, they want you to drink their Kool-Aid and get drunk on their Kool-Aid. Like, it's almost like they want you to hear, they want to hear the words that they're saying come out of your mouth as well, right? That's self-help and the Mano Swamp kind of wrapped up in a nutshell, if that makes sense, right?
Too many one-eyed men selling glasses to blind men, creating unrealistic expectations for how fast a man can get results. Too much chasing tail, and not enough chasing of excellence. That's what I preach about all the time, right? Too many broke fat guys that don't lift, that married single moms lecturing men on how to be a real man.
God.
So much of that.
That's so common. Very, very common.
Too many men looking for the cheat codes to play life, women, money on God mode. Really? There's that many guys actually doing it. Honestly, it's a joke. Lazy people who expect you to tell them basic stuff anyone can look up on a cell phone, like what's hypergamy. There's a lot of legitimate grievances and problems with this.
Yeah, the laziness gets me all the time. I said something the other day in a tweet response. I said something like "move more, eat better." Okay, which would make sense to most people, I think, that speak English when it comes to self-care, right? Move more, eat better. Dude at replies me, what do you mean by move more? Do I have to explain that? Like, we're at the point where we have to explain basic concepts?
Space called the Manosphere that too many people, go on about being experts. And it's because there's really a lack of true experts. There's dozens upon dozens of guys that are answering questions like how to get girls, and not enough guys solving problems behind the why you're not getting girls. Like, you probably suck. Maybe you need a gym membership and you got to lose 60 pounds. You probably need to get a haircut and get some proper style going on. You need to understand, and very importantly, female nature and what drives women and what drives the dynamics between desire between men and women. Not let's go and memorize lines and go and approach 75 women and bother them in public spaces, hoping that you can get one of them to go out on a date with you, right? Like, that's the whole, too many promises of fast results, right? There's a lot of that going on too. People selling programs on how to get fast results. Remember these lines and regurgitate them and go and approach, 75 women and harass the crap out of them. Well, what's that going to get you? It's going to get you a lot of disappointment, probably harassment charges, or even a Me Too. And they wonder why they're, not being successful. And then at the end of that, when they,
I was shocked. Like I hung around a lot, for the next few years after this, at the amount of people that had either been running from the law, had criminal charges, or had got guys incarcerated for following the tools and techniques that they offered. But it's a lot more common than you think. A lot of it gets swept away, or you hope that it disappears. But again, sunlight will sanitize everything. Like, the whole next step for Andrew, we'll see what it looks like. I think it'll be an interesting unfolding, because I think he's generally regarded right now as the self-help guy, whether it's, you want to call it red pill or unplugging from the matrix, whatever it happens to be. But, dude said it earlier up here. Who was it? Henry? Most guys like Andrew brought the cancellation onto themselves. You play with the bull and, you're going to get the horns. You can go out there and say and do certain things. I mean, the conversations that I have with my boys when we're together are different than what you'll see on a stream or in a video. I'm acutely aware of cancel culture. I'm acutely aware of what can and probably or may not be able to be said, or you have to sort of water it down or use slightly different language. I mean, there's people out there right now that use very terse and abrasive language, descriptive terms, and they haven't been canceled yet. But again, they haven't got the level of media attention, I think, that Andrew did. When you walk and talk and act like a bull, like an alpha male, you're going to get a lot of attention from people. And when you say things that can be used against you, it's not self-help anymore, right?
They don't get
Like, it brings you back to the anti-fragility part, right? If you're in a position to offer advice, to be helpful, to reveal certain things, to sanitize, the darkness with some light, to unplug, whatever it is, that you want to call it, with some truth. A lot of it is very, very uncomfortable. It's very difficult for people to want to hear. Women especially, and for soft men especially too, like weak beta males that have been fed a entire life, like a steady diet of men are weak, bend the knee, just be a nice guy. Women are oppressed. They make less than what men do for the exact same job, blah, blah, blah. At some point, like, weak men can be very, very dangerous. I think it was Jordan Peterson said something along the lines of, if you think that tough guys are dangerous, wait till you get a load of what weak guys, can and will do. And a lot of the negative sound bites that you'll hear don't come from alpha males. They don't come from strong, virtuous men. They come from weaker guys. They come from weaker guys, and more so like the victim mindset. It's like, oh, poor me, and they find a reason to be offended, hurt, not in a safe space, something like that, and then it gets amplified. And that's exactly what happened to Andrew.
cheat codes to life. This is the best part. People that consume content in the Manosphere, when they're not willing to do the work, lose the weight, get the gym membership, make the money, figure out,
the whole like lose the weight thing, really, what, 65-70% of the North American population's overweight, fat, obese, morbidly obese, in some category where it's an unhealthy BMI, right? And it's like, all you have to do is move more and eat better. And a lot of them won't even do that, right? Like, there's some lazy ass creators even that won't even do that, and they'll just go get liposuction, right? Because they don't want to do the work. But just the fundamentals of the optics of strength and masculinity, health and fitness, just a decent diet, a good workout protocol, a decent workout protocol. And if you're a young guy, it should be easy as hell, man. Like, when you get to my age, trust me, it's a lot harder to maintain physical conditioning. But a lot of the young guys that, are out there going, I need some help. Can you jump rope for 2 minutes straight? Can you do 20 body weight dips, with the dip bar? I was just at the gym this morning doing this, 20, no problem, right? Can you do 25 push-ups? Like, just basic body weight stuff. And if you can start with, easy fundamentals and kind of work from there, learn combat skills, learn how to fight, join a dojo, box, kickbox, Krav, I don't care. Do something so that you develop the competency skills and improve your conditioning and your mental health. That's what I heard a lot of from, Andrew, was become a better version of yourself. Do the fucking work, don't be lazy. Don't surround yourself with mediocrity when you can surround yourself with excellence, right?
the basic dynamics of the sexual marketplace, then they get pissed off and then they point and sputter. Oh, you're a scam. That's a lie.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. This, that, and the other thing.
That's like the whole doomer trope, the black pill guys, right?
And then they'll go and manufacture indignation. I'll give you a great example. I had a coaching call the other day with this guy. Dude books 15 minutes, okay? And his problem was, he's a 38-year-old guy. He's new to North America. He's got a very thick Indian accent, working for a tech company as an engineer. And he wanted me to produce a magic wand that would solve all of his problems in 15 minutes. His strategy to get a girl to like him, which is what he booked.
Like, terrible, terrible game, wanted the cheat codes to fixing getting one girl like that. And it's like, there's actually people out there that promise that. There's people out there like, hey, if you follow these texting tips, or if you buy my, course on picking up girls or something like that, we'll get you there. But I've always said it's a mindset thing, right? It's like, adopt a new mindset. Don't memorize and regurgitate language, terms, text message clips, or whatever it happens to be. It's a mindset shift where you actually become the game. We talk about this a lot, and like, I run a bunch of group chats, and one of them's like a top tier one, my community. And it's like, the constant theme is, you can't fake this. You can't fake it till you make it. Like, you actually have to become the game. You know what I'm saying?
Book the call for, because he wanted to get a wife. His strategy was to approach a woman that's 15 years younger than him from his church. And he shows me a picture of it, of some other guy that looks kind of like him with his arms wrapped around her, wanting that girl, trying to figure out, how do I get that girl and get her to marry me? And his approach was, tell her that I like her, find her funny, and then tell her that he wants to wife her up.
And a lot of the stuff that you get in the self-help, sort of space for guys, or in the Mano Swamp, I call it the Mano Swamp because it's a better name than Manosphere, to be honest with you. It's build a better beta sort of recipes, like not dealing with the core problem, right? Like a guy wants to solve his entire world view in 15 minutes when he's new to a country, is completely beta-tized, raised by a single mom, works in a boring industry, doesn't have any interesting skills or hobbies. You see where I'm going now, right?
And it's like, dude, we're not going to solve this problem in 15 minutes, right? We're going to have to dive real deep down this rabbit hole and reconfigure your belief system, because right now, what you've been doing ain't working. And that's going to take a lot of work. But does the guy want to do the work? No. He's lazy.
It's amazing how almost nothing has changed over the last few years since I made this video.
There's too many lazy people out there that are unwilling to do the work on themselves. They'll go and spend thousands of dollars on stupid PUA courses, chasing women, trying to regurgitate lines, or going to stupid events, when what they should be doing is finding somebody that's truly an expert, that's done the work, book their time, and get the training from them directly.
I take that back. Start by getting a gym membership. Start by getting some meal planning going. Start by signaling the optics of what masculinity and strength actually look like, right? Because the inner game is like becoming it, right? It's not like basics, like just memorize stuff. It's not really.
Do a lot of people do?
It's understanding it. And you don't even need any of the stuff that you see out there. There's one, if I could recommend one place to start, intelligent guys can start with EvoPsych. Okay. When it comes to society, pecking orders, hierarchies, women, what women respond to, like all of that stuff, EvoPsych stuff. Right. And The Evolution of Desire is a very, very straightforward read. David Buss is the author. He's an EvoPsych guy. There's another interesting book which he co-authored as well called I think it's called Why Women Have Sex. And if you get the audio version, I think it's read by a female, if I'm not mistaken, but there's a female co-author that he worked with, collaborating on the research and collecting the data. You start with that and you see the code in the matrix. You're like, oh, okay, now I see it. You may not like it, but now I see it, right?
Do it? No, a handful do. But I'll tell you what, the guys that are booking with me, they're getting shit done, man. They're getting a lot of stuff done. But anyway, back to the point of the manosphere. Many, many problems with it. Too many fakes, too many liars, too many people that haven't done the work, that are projecting outwardly that they're awesome. They are like, it's like social media. You know how they say that social media is like a highlight reel? It's like you see these people that pretend to be awesome in social media, but in real life, they're not. There's a lot of guys in the manosphere that are like that, where they claim to have answers that they do not, or they offer BS advice, or they do things that they don't live up to.
Yeah. Speaking of BS advice, I've heard firsthand, like absolutely shit advice that would just send a guy down the wrong path, dispense to guys that I know personally. And there's nothing you can do about it, really, because there's no, it's a permissionless environment to upload to YouTube, for example, if that's where the platform is. You don't need anybody's permission to record a video and upload it. You just have to sound compelling enough. I remember when I was a kid, one of my friend's dad, he used to run this business, $25 million a year business. And, one of the lessons I learned from him was he said something along the lines of bullshit baffles brains. And you can hold out, you can purport to be something that you're not, because most people aren't that smart and they're not smart enough to figure it out.
I've heard a man, okay, in the same room saying that he is amazing and that he only goes out with 9s and 10s. And then after I heard him say that, within literally 45 minutes, I see him bring into the event area a 2. And I just couldn't believe it. And I was not the only one shaking my head at this, right? Like there's example after example after example. You're banging on telling people to buy your course or program saying that you're only with 9s and 10s, but you walk a 2 into the hotel. Come on, guys. Like it's going to come back and bite you in the butt at some point. You got to be smarter than that. Those of you that are creating content out there, I challenge you to be better. I know you can be better. Some of you I know very well, and I know you can be better. I'm not going to be around you though, unfortunately, right? I don't want to be around losers. I mean, you can't soar like an eagle if you surround yourself with turkeys. It's just not going to happen.
That's why I've been solo since December. I'm just happier that way. It's better.
Right? These guys need to level up. They need to level up the game. They need to actually do the work. They need to stop screwing people over. They need to stop lying to people and misleading them with results that they've never achieved themselves. Always ask yourself this, guys. I'm going to wrap up on this note because I feel like I'm banging on too long in this video. Always ask yourself this. Would you want to trade places with that person? Whenever somebody dispenses advice, ask yourself, would I trade my life for their life? Out of the dozens of people that I know in this space.
Yeah, I think I can think I can wrap it up on that note. There was, as far as like self-help and like masculinity stuff, let me see. Can I put this up on the screen? Remove and let's stop screen. Let's throw this up here because I came across the Haka. I love this, man. This thing is freaking awesome. Share screen, tab. This right here. Okay. You should be able to hear this. I just came across this today. So if you don't know what this dance is, it's called the Haka. Southern Pacific, I think, like Southern Islander sort of thing. I'm assuming this is probably in New Zealand where they filmed this. And it's just a quick minute clip, but just watch this. I mean, you could improve the lives of a lot of men quite simply by teaching them this dance and having them do it on a consistent basis. Often when a lot of these sporting leagues and teams challenge another team and it's a world final or something like that, you'll see this. Some of you may have not seen this. This might be like a replay for some of you that have seen it before, but just check this out. Like, I love this dance. Just listen to this shit. I'm just going to mute it while it continues to play. But one of the points that I wanted to make is you have an entire room here. This is probably some kind of boys' school. Entire room here. And if you go back, an entire upper level up over here. I don't know how many kids are in this room. Like a few hundreds for sure. All doing the exact same thing, following the same movement. It's very powerful. Like, look at the faces on the kids in the front rows here. Like, look at this motherfucker. Like, he's taking it very, very seriously. Now, this is what a lot of the self-help stuff is. Everybody, they take it very seriously. They memorize the moves and the lines and sort of stuff like that. But again, I'm assuming this is New Zealand. If you're not familiar, New Zealand is probably the biggest soy country in the world right now. They allowed themselves to get locked down like no other country. The leader, the prime minister, I can't remember her name, but she was in the media recently, and she was talking about how you should just trust, the government, and you should just listen to the government and follow what they say. Now, if the entire country voted for this woman, with the whole narratives and the lockdowns and just trust us and, line up to get your 17 booster jabs sort of thing. If the entire country fell for it, even though you've got a room full of boys like this, that memorized, the movements and the lines and all that sort of stuff, it makes you wonder, about the differences between consuming and regurgitating and actually living, right? And that's the becoming the game part. That's like the becoming, the better version of yourself. A lot of guys will go out there and watch it. I'll get up like Jocko Willnick and I'll do my workout at 3:30 a.m. and I'll take a picture of my wristwatch and the sweat on the floor. I'll get the gorilla kettlebells, from Joe Rogan's store, and I'll swing them, and I'll be just like him, sort of thing. But the vast majority of guys are like the kids that I see that are beating their chest 140 pounds, soaking wet at the gym, talking about being the top G. It's like, no, dude, you're not Andrew. You're not driving a Bugatti. You're not even close. Okay, but it's like, I'm glad you're doing something. I see the movements, but have you actually adopted the new mindset, right? That's where the results start to come. That's where self-help results really come from, right? And they do get there. Not all of them, most of them don't, but they do get there. Let me just go back here in the chat. Neem says, with little effort, you can move mountains, but only mouth work can't move your legs, but only mouth work. Yeah. Little super there. Chris says, respectfully, many guys in a Mano swamp seem to only care about women, including red pill guys who I call friends, focus on getting results outside of getting laid. I said one time that there's two kinds of people you can't trust in the world. You can't trust anybody that constantly focuses all their attention on getting laid and racking up a notch count, and people that don't get laid, because either one of them will throw you under the bus for any benefit at any given time. Think about that for a second. All starts with you building better habits. One man's chorus. Rich, you keep saying that today's young men are soy. Consider the percentage of millennials and Zoomers who are raised by single moms and public school teachers. Today's men were socialized by women. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot lately too. Because there's this notion of, well, you can solve that by homeschooling your kids. Can you? Can you really solve that problem by homeschooling your kids? Because even if you're a patriarch, you live out in the woods, rural, you've got, like a well dug for your water, you've maybe grow, some of your own produce, you've got some animals on your land, and you homeschool your kids. Can you really change that? Right. As a question that I would pose right now, because it's like, some people will homeschool their kids and they'll go put them in the school system at some point, or they'll expose them to screens at some point. And I would argue that you could homeschool your kids, I don't know, for the first 10 years of their lives, sort of thing. And then once they get their hand on what society tries to throw at them, wokeness, rainbows, TikToks. I'm convinced TikTok is a psyop. Okay. China knows what they're doing. Like, the stuff that the Chinese consume in Asia is different from the TikTok that we consume in North America. There's a reason why the military doesn't let people use TikTok, from what I understand. I don't know if that's still true today. Maybe they've changed that. I don't know. But it's a psyop, and it's algorithmically designed, I believe, to soften most of society. Now, that being said, it's also got code which is going to amplify anything that keeps people on the platform, improves watch time, and discussion engagement, commentary, stuff like that. So I think what you're probably going to see is you're going to see some of that change, because that's like one of the reasons why Andrew, blew up so much, was that he leveraged his affiliate network to produce so many different TikTok accounts to pump out his content, and the algorithms reward that, or they still do, maybe to this moment, but I believe that's going to change. But to the point over here of like, today's men are socialized by women. It's like, how do you change that? How do you stop that? It's very difficult. You don't own your kids when you expose them to outside influence. Unless you're Amish and you don't have electricity, TV, like whatever, they are going to get exposed to mainstream narratives. They're going to get exposed to notions like your sons will be weakened, right? Like, they will be convinced that they should stay and be weak. They'll be lied to and told to just be themselves and be a nice guy. And they'll watch media and advertising saying that men are idiots and they're incompetent and that women are better. And women will hear messages about men and women are equal. They're the same. You two ladies can be promiscuous. Men just can't do it. You should do it too. You're beautiful at any size, weight, height, color of hair, whatever. Standards. They're softening the fabric of society, and it's very, very difficult to penetrate that today, and to get a clear, concise message about strength, masculinity, competency, ownership. When I talk, I don't talk to chicks. Like, I'm talking to the dudes. I'm talking to men. Okay, I make videos. as if I'm talking to my sons, sort of thing. Women already have it pretty easy in the world overall. A lot of times, people ask me, well, well, women can do this too. And like your information's helpful, for women. And what advice would you give the gals, Rich? And it's like, is it different? Yeah. I mean, I would tell a son not to get married, put himself first, and make something out of himself. And I would tell a daughter, preserve, your femininity, preserve your beauty. Like women are born something, they're born beautiful. And if they live their life correctly and they don't party and they don't drink and they don't smoke and they don't do stupid shit and run around with a bunch of guys, that's basically where their value comes from. Look, I'm not saying don't go get a job. I'm not saying don't go get a degree if you want, but that's not what guys want. The top shelf guys that all women pine for aren't, like, there's no guy that ever said, even broke guys, that ever said, oh yeah, look at the degree on her. Look at her degree when she walks away. Check that out. Hey, check that out when she walks away. That's a nice degree on her, huh? Framed in mahogany, little letters after her name. That's hot. Guys don't do that. They look at the optics of beauty. And what do women look at? They look at success. They look at competency skills. They look at guys that are strong, that have a backbone, that can make it rain. They know how to make money, okay? Proper money, like, money that, makes a difference, that, does something. So it's like, yeah, it's a serious problem, right? And I don't have all the answers. I can't fix the world. People are like, oh, Rich, you have a platform. Why don't you fix things? Why don't you say this? Or you need to say that. You need to say this. It's like, no, I'm going to say what I want to say, okay? You're not going to like sometimes what I say. You may not adopt what I say. It might ruffle your feathers when I say things, but I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And I'll tell you something, guys, guys, it's the vast majority that are watching my content. Again, can you do 25 push-ups? Can you get on some dip bars and do 20 dips? Can you skip rope for 20 minutes without being out of breath? Do you know how to fight? Do you know how to defend yourself? Do you know how to defend a woman or women? Can you do any of these basic things? Can you solve problems, or you just sit there and go, well, I'm just going to play video games, right? Or you're going to watch, like a video, and you see a hashtag or something like that, and you're like, yeah, I'm a top G too. That's me. I'm a top G. It's like, I remember a couple of weeks ago, I had this young man call in on my Unplugged Alpha podcast, and one of the things he said, I think Velko made a clip out of it. He said something along the lines of, I'm a high value man. And it's like, nope. I stopped him right there. He was complaining that he couldn't wear the hat that he wanted to wear when he was cutting the grass. He complained that his wife would browbeat him over the position of the toilet seat. It's like simple shit like, woman, just put the toilet seat down. Okay, I'm busy here. I'm chasing excellence. I'm doing something, right? I'm doing something useful with my life. And it's like, having a fight over a toilet seat is nonsense, right? But this is the state that guys are in. Like, you're not a high value guy if you don't have the capacity to lead in the relationship, right? She doesn't see you that way. I guarantee it. Otherwise, why would she be chirping you over something basic like that? Yeah, I saw the video of Joe reviewing TikTok's user terms. It's crazy. There's a clip out there somewhere on YouTube. It's not very long. You can go look it up. But it's basically like, here. Let me see if I can dig it up real quick. It's not a very long clip. Joe Rogan exposes TikTok. I always spell that wrong. In terms of services. See if the search engine works. Crazy terms of service. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, you guys got to watch this. It's like a 2-minute clip. Share screen tab. Joe Rogan. There we go.
Oh my God. I read TikTok's terms of service. I went down a TikTok rabbit hole yesterday.
Yeah, it's good.
I stayed home, smoked a little weed, and I started reading up on TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm going to read you this because this is so crazy.
Imagine being a stand-up comic and be like, yeah, I'm going to smoke a blunt and go read some TikTok terms of service.
Crazy.
Is it good or bad?
Bad.
So what are you saying? It's a bad place to be?
Listen to this. This is from TikTok's privacy policy.
All right.
It said, we collect certain information about the device you use to access the platform, such as your IP address, user region. This is really crazy. User agent, mobile carrier, time zone settings, identifiers for advertising purpose, model of your device.
We're only a third of the way through, and they already know the model of your device, everything about your phone, your operating system. Here, I'm going to speed it up a little bit.
It's the device system, network type, device IDs, your screen resolution, and
your screen resolution. Like, they're collecting data on your screen resolution.
Operating system, app and file names and types. So all your apps and all your file names.
So they know about all your file names on your phone, all the apps you have on your phone.
All the things you have filed away on your phone,
Really?
they have access to that. File names and types. Keystroke patterns or rhythms. So they're monitoring your keystrokes, which means they know every...
If you guys don't know about heat mapping, if you've ever created a website, one of the things that you want to do with a website is you want to put this like cookie code on it, basically, and it tracks heat mapping. So what you do on the screen. This is basically what TikTok's doing, is they're essentially heat mapping the use of their app. And I'm assuming, since they're tracking other apps and what you're doing with your phone, everything pretty much.
Fucking thing you type. Wow. Battery state, audio settings.
The percentage of your battery, audio settings.
And connected audio devices where you log in from multiple devices.
Oh.
We will be able to use your profile information to identify your activity across devices. We may also associate you with information collected from devices other than those you use to log into the platform.
We're only halfway through.
Meaning they can use other computers that you're not even using to log into TikTok. They can suck the data off that. That's what you're agreeing to when you download and start using TikTok. That's wild.
It's insane.
Dude, like, here, I'm going to remove this now. I have a TikTok account, and I upload clips there. And I'm telling you right now, delete TikTok. You don't need it. I'm telling you, as somebody that uploads video there, I really try not to consume it, because if you start scrolling through it, it's like they suck you in, man, with their total bullshit. Rashid says, love your content. Do you have plans to write another book? Yes, I'm working on the follow-up to it. I'm quite chuffed. He says, I have read your book 6 times so far. Just a masterpiece. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Look, if you've read my book, please leave a review on Amazon. It helps me. If you haven't, get it. I'm proud of this book, but I'm going to be honest with you. The follow-up that I'm writing to this, I think, is going to be even better. And we'll see when it comes out. It'll be out next year. We'll see. Oh, man. So what have we covered here? We got into, let's close that and remove the books and the Twitter feed and the Haka and that video from the Manosphere from a few years ago. Okay. Yeah. Jaren's talking about heat mapping. Yeah, it's a very, very effective tool to monitor everything that you do. So cancel culture. Best thing that you can do, guys, is if you're going to broadcast yourself, be as anti-fragile as possible. Meaning, if chaos comes your way, if they try to do something to stop you, you actually improve. I think Andrew's a smart guy, and I hope he comes out the other end better than what he was before. I don't see him the way that a lot of you guys see him. I see guys calling him the TopG, and I don't even know what the fuck a TopG is, to be honest with you. I think it means gangster, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe you guys can, correct me in the live chat, but I know legitimate Italian mobsters. So I see him as a very funny guy. One of my favorite podcast interviews that I've seen with him was with Tom Segura, who's a stand-up comic. And I mentioned this before, his own wife even said during the podcast that he's had world-class comics sitting opposite from him, and he's never laughed as hard as he did with Tate. And I thought Andrew was very, very funny. I think he's, in my opinion, I think I see him first as a comedian, then I see him as a car guy. He loves cars. Dude, anybody that likes cars is all right with me. I don't care what brand of car it is. I don't care if it's a Subaru, STI. I don't care if it's a Bugatti. If you like cars and you can talk cars, I'm down to shoot the shit. I just like car guys. He's an entrepreneur. He's obviously a successful kickboxer and won a bunch of fights. I think he'll be okay. I would not be surprised if he got a signed deal at this time to do a podcast on a platform like Spotify. it would be stupid for other platforms to ignore the popularity. They should be capitalizing on it. And if I was Andrew, I would definitely take advantage of that. A lot of people have said, well, you should go to this platform or go to that platform, or so-and-so is going to, I saw this video somebody served to me, or sorry, I think the algorithms, served to me. I can't remember who it was, but it was a British guy. And he said something like, I'm going to save the Manosphere with my video platform. And it's like, oh, here we go. Another fucking centralized video platform that's going to save the world. Right. The reason why I haven't moved to another platform is very, very simple. They're all the same. If you violate their terms, which aren't explicit and clear, if we're being honest. So if they don't like you is what it boils down to. If they don't like you and they want to take you off, they will remove you. It doesn't matter if it's Rumble, Odyssey, Locals was the other one that Dave Rubin did, I think, with Peterson. I think Peterson, got out of that deal. It doesn't matter what they are, but if they're centralized, there's no point, in my view. I'm waiting for Web3, decentralized social media, where there's consensus. For example, like, look, if you want to remove somebody from a decentralized platform and you want to cancel them, let the people on the platform vote, not the people not the people sitting in that one room where there's 6, victim mindset, purple-haired, angry people that hate men, sort of thing. Want to take you off. I don't like it that you said this, so I'm going to take them off. Let's just delete them, and then we'll call our friends at this show. Hey, TikTok? Yeah, okay, we're going to take them down. Yeah, okay, payment processors? Yeah, we're going to take them down. That's what they do. They come at you from all angles. It's a coordinated attack, and then it's like, okay, we'll take away his ability to speak. We'll take away his ability to broadcast. We'll take away his ability to process payments. We'll take away his ability to host, on a website. We'll take away his ability to use things like Discord. So then it becomes a coordinated attack. And then, you're kind of forced to go to some small, rinky-dink platform. The real solution to cancel culture, and I really hope that you guys listen to this and pay attention to it, is going to be a Web3 solution. It's going to be a decentralized solution built on like something like the blockchain, where you own your content. And if people want to see it, they can come and see it. If people want you removed, it requires the consensus of whatever to get you deleted or removed, for example, but you own the content. That doesn't exist today. They profit immensely. It's funny, because social media platforms, tech today, will profit immensely from you processing payments on their platforms, broadcasting messages on their platforms, and bring eyeballs to them. But as soon as somebody's feelings are hurt, or enough people's feelings are hurt because you don't like something that is said, it's like, oh, we'll take it all away. It's gone. Rug pull. Psh, rug pull, right? It is what it is. That's what cancel culture is. It doesn't aim to improve the world. It aims to try to silence. And all that you prove when you try to silence somebody, like I said earlier, is basically that they're right. Like, why would you silence somebody that's wrong? When I consume, like something in my feed, or if I turn on YouTube and I'm not logged in, and it's some makeup tutorial or some unattractive woman that's going to browbeat or bash men and make fun of them, I just turn it off. I just move on. I don't complain about it. I don't copy it and send it to like a group discussion that's private on Facebook and get all the other angry people to come in and sort of mob it out and mass file and report. That's what weak people do, right? That's what beta males do. That's what angry, disgruntled people do. And it's just not the solution. I don't agree with it at all. I personally think that cancel culture is a very big problem, but we don't have a solution to it. Nobody's done anything about it. I would imagine, because Andrew's name is that popular right now, that a guy like Elon Musk has probably caught wind of it and probably seen some of the clips, some of the shorts and reels. And that's the kind of person that has the ability to build a Web3 sort of platform and get it out there and push the sort of adoption level that you want. He was talking about doing that with Twitter and fixing all the problems that they have over there, but then he backed out of the deal. And I don't blame him. I mean, a lot of the shit that Twitter was purporting was just not true, right? We have all these users, but I use Twitter, and I know a lot of the users that are on Twitter are fraudulent. They're fake. They're sock puppet accounts. They're extra accounts. They're throwaway accounts or whatever. They're just shit talker accounts. They're not real people. Which is why I said earlier, I mean, take a look at somebody's life so that you can evaluate them before, you take it seriously. And even that is hard to do. Like I said, there's a lot of fakes. There's a lot of frauds out there, posers that will hold out to the public that there's something that they're not. They're not always easy to identify. Like, let me share this story and then I'll wrap up. When I used to ride motorcycles, and guys that ride sport bikes will know this, there's always like a cafe, a coffee shop or something like that. And you get together with your friends, you go hang out. It's 11 o'clock at night. Traffic's died down. You're going to have a hot drink of coffee, get the caffeine levels up, and you're going to go out and you're going to ride the ramps or find twisties, or there's a canyon road or something like that. There's always new guys that would come to the cafes, and they would be like, oh, I want to come riding with you. And they'd have like the latest, greatest motorcycle, a Ducati, a sport bike, a crotch rocket, whatever it happened to be. And we'd always be open to bringing them with us. But the way that we would evaluate the real from the posers was easy, because all you had to do was look at their tires, and not the rear tire. You would look at the front tire, because there's a wear pattern. Like if I take something round like this over here, you can see it's like a circle, right? When you lean and the tire rolls over on the road, it starts to wear on the inside of the tire. Okay. And if they didn't have wear on the inside of the tire, they didn't know how to ride around corners. They were just straight line riders, and that was their level of skill. And we didn't want to take them along because we didn't want them, one, to hold us up, or two, to get hurt trying to keep up with us. So we'd only roll with experienced riders that were, like kind of newer to the group or something like that. Posers aren't always easy to identify when you don't know what to look for. And I don't think most people know what to look for when it comes to people holding out to the public that they're experts in certain areas, AKA you see a lot of it in the Mano-Swamp and the Red Pill and all that sort of stuff. And a lot of them, over time, sunlight will sanitize it, and, the truth gets revealed. But at the end of the day, the real problem is with the person that you need to hold accountable, which is the guy that looks at you in the mirror in the morning. That's the guy that you need to hold accountable. Don't worry about holding women accountable, holding Mano-Swamp creators accountable. Give up on all that shit. Give up on all of it immediately, okay? Because self-help, those two words, self, yourself, and help, doing it yourself, for yourself, starts from within. Starts with you holding the guy in the mirror accountable and making sure that that guy's the best version of himself, making sure that he's living up to standards that you set, and you set high enough standards for him to live up to. And then you start getting on with the business of doing the work, making the money, developing the masculine frame, looking good, getting rid of excuses. Oh, I got hit by lightning. It's Mother Nature's fault. Taking ownership for everything. You get hit by lightning, it's your fault, right? Take ownership for everything, okay? Everything in your life. Losing the victim mindset, destroying all of those like old world plugged in bullshit beliefs that don't serve you, that don't help you level up, that don't get you the results that you want out of life. Stop playing that victim mindset. Stop the whole, women are just whatever sort of thing, or that guy's a blah, 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 blah. Like, are you the best version of yourself? Rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being the best version of yourself, the absolute best that you can possibly be, and 1 being the worst. And if you're nowhere near a 10, you have some fucking work to do. Let's be honest. Pretty much everybody that watches any kind of men's self-help, Mano-Swamp content, they're nowhere near a 10. That's why they're there, because they're looking for answers. So go and start doing the work on yourself. That's all this message really is just get out there and do the damn work. Cancel culture sucks. Sorry about the TopG. I'm sure he'll be back. He'll figure something out. The Red Pill is what it is. It's just like, just get out there and kick ass, man. My dad always used to say, just get out there and kick ass, Richard. Just do it. I don't know. It is what it is. Okay. I'm going to wrap it up. I think it's time to get her going. I'm getting together with a couple of boys for my group tonight. A little bit of housekeeping I should probably mention since I'm on the stream. My School of Entrepreneurship opens up next Monday. I'll talk about it more on my Unplugged Alpha podcast Monday night at 8 p.m. on the Unplugged Alpha podcast channel. But if you're on my email list below, you already know that it's opening. If you're not, you should get on it, because that's where you get first notification and some more information about it. But essentially, I've taken everything that I've learned over the years as an entrepreneur for the last 20 plus years in my own business, in the guys that I've coached in the business world, in the guys that I've collaborated with, in the $250,000 that I've spent learning about how to be a better entrepreneur at events through hiring coaches and all that shit. I've taken it all, I've distilled it down, and I've gotten right down to the meat and potatoes. There's 4 to 5 hours. Actually, there's more than that because I've uploaded some new content since I did the original recordings. There's plenty of useful lectures in there, let's just say. So if you're the kind of guy that's like, I'm stuck in a job that I hate and I want more for myself, that is one of the ways to create true wealth. If you're running a business that isn't profitable and you've got that entrepreneurial sort of like thing going on, and you're not making proper money, meaning you're not generating over $1 million a year in revenue, you're nowhere close to it, you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel to make that happen, it's got it all in there for you. All right. Opens Monday, closes 6 days later, delivering the content, doing Zoom calls. I'll explain it all on Monday night on my channel, but get on my email list if you don't know about it. Launches on Monday. Hope you guys have an awesome time. Looking forward to see the boys tonight. And yeah, just again, guys, it just boils down to getting out there and doing the damn work and staying away from the losers. Don't work with losers. Don't surround yourself with losers. There's anchors in sales in life. Make sure that you're doing things that fill your sails with wind and take you to the next port of call. Cut the fucking anchors loose and get rid of the losers. You will always be the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You surround yourself with 5 fat, broke, dumb, lying losers. You will be the 6th. Have a good night. Peace out.